Welcome back to Big Movie Mouth Off, the podcast where three Salt Lake City-based critics refuse to give an inch about film. I'm Jeff Counts.
I'm Brooks Bird.
And I'm Adam McDonald.
This is episode 35.
We're almost to middle age.
I know.
Oh, man.
Wow.
We're going to start having to pay taxes like
We're going to catch up to ourselves.
It's going to take a long time to catch up to me, but the two films
Just 5 more episodes, that's all.
Thank you,
You're welcome.
Adam. That was very kind. The two movies we're talking about in this episode are The Amateur, Rami Malek's espionage thriller, and Thunderbolts, the latest entry into the MCU. We'll do a guilty pleasure based on out-of-shape superheroes. That's in honor, of course, of David Harbour's Red Guardian from Thunderbolts. And then we'll talk about our coming attractions. Let's get right to it. We're going to jump into The Amateur first. Brooks is going to tell us what it's about. Here's some of the trailer.
You ever wonder what they do with all the stuff you dig up for them?
That's not my job.
No, but you never wonder?
No, it's the CIA. I gotta trust that they'll make the right call. Maybe it's better not to know. Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Charlie, I think you need to see this.
What is this?
Your wife has been killed.
Okay, Brooks, what is The Amateur about?
So we've got Rami Malek. He's a CIA cryptographer, and his wife goes on a trip and winds up getting killed by a bunch of terrorists. And he wants, well, justice, revenge, pick your poison. But the CIA claims they're doing everything they can. Of course, obviously they're not. So he decides to go off on his own little venture, and under the mentorship of Lawrence Fishburne, picks up a few tricks of the trade and sets off on his own globe-trotting adventures to try to figure out what happened.
This is of the subgenre of thrillers called The Man in the Chair. It's about the person who usually works in the basement, usually is doing the computer, usually doing the support for the actual field agents. That's what this kind of movie is. I'm going to say right now for the record that it was done better by the person in the chair of Melissa McCarthy in Spy.
Yes, I was just thinking about that.
All right, so we got that out. My first question for you is why?
Why does this movie exist, or why?
Yes.
I think people want the 90s back, I guess. I don't know. Between this and Love Hurts, it sure feels like it.
Well, see, I like overall movies that are like The Man in the Chair. Like, and again, we mentioned Spy.
They can be fun, yeah.
Yeah, and Spy is, I mean, Paul Feig and Melissa McCarthy, of course, they're like peanut butter and jelly. They go together so well. And so I went in with this, like, knowing that was the background, and I was excited. Like, I like Rami Malek. I think he's done a lot of good stuff. He has that very, for me, unconventionally attractive thing about him. Can't tell you why, but he is. I don't think he deserved the Oscar for the Queen movie, but that's a different story. This is my biggest complaint with this movie. I'm not going to go into details because I think it's worthwhile watching. I wouldn't go to the theater. I think if it's on Netflix for free, catch it there. But for someone who's so incredibly smart, and he is, like, I love the fact that his superpower is smarts. Why does he do so many dumb things? That's what blew my mind.
Because script.
Out of the experience. Yeah, the script. But that's what took me out, was like, this guy has like 160 IQ. He's doing all this cool stuff, and then he does stupid things that make no sense and betray his character.
They were trying to lean into his emotional aspect a little too much, and it gets in the way of how smart he is.
Probably also trying to play on the fish out of water aspect of this.
Yeah,
He had no business being in the field.
Let me give you one clear example. This isn't a spoiler, okay? He's being chased by the CIA, right? He wants to keep his head down. Then why in the world is he in some other country purposely walking in front of traffic so cars have to go around him that we know the security cameras are very easily going to pick up?
Yeah.
I don't know why that stuck out to me, but that was kind of like where my suspension of disbelief fully went away. But that just, I use that as like the litmus test for why this movie is so stupid sometimes.
The director of this film also did several episodes of Slow Horses, which is a show on Apple Plus with Gary Oldman that I really love. And it's espionage thriller. Not that I'm looking for more of this, more of The Amateur, but I think this story might have worked better if it were stretched out into like a 6-episode arc on a prestige streaming service, because I felt like it was pretty rushed. The development of him as a competent field agent seemed to happen really, really quickly. And I think those moments where they made him look, in Adam's terminology, stupid, were intended to remind us that he doesn't belong out there, even though things seem to always go pretty well for him in the end. I don't know that this movie gave itself enough time to tell the story well, because honestly, what we got in the theater was nothing new. I've seen it all before.
Yeah.
It's very, very paint by numbers. And I think they wasted Fishburne. They wasted Rami Malek. They definitely wasted John Bernthal. I don't know why he's in this movie at all. He has 3 scenes. They are inconsequential. They do nothing to move the story.
His last scene's hilarious
I
because
have
it
no
has
idea.
no purpose.
Zero purpose. I don't know why he's in it. I wonder.
It was on break when he was doing Daredevil.
It's like they were filming in the same area or something.
Is it possible he did a lot more and it just ended up on the cutting room floor? I don't know. But that's another reason why, had they stretched this out into episodic, maybe they could have brought his character more into the story. I don't know. I'm not sure that it would have helped it be more than pedestrian, which is what I think it is.
They set it up like he's going to be. And so then when he shows up,
right,
and then you're like, wait, what?
He literally walks out of a room and you don't see him again. It was a strange.
But they
strange
completely set him
moment.
up at the beginning for like what could have been a purpose.
Yeah.
But they don't do it.
What did you think about the setup? Because he has to do something to make the CIA agree with his plan. And I felt like that, I don't want to give it away because, as Adam said, people should see it for themselves. But I felt like the thing that he does, the thread he pulls to get the CIA upper echelon to agree to send him out there was preposterous. And it just didn't track with the gritty realism that the story was trying to tell.
That was one of my big issues where he's being stupid. And it doesn't make sense with someone who is so smart. And I'm not going to go in details because, again, we want to make sure if you see this, you go in and experience the quote unquote joy of this movie as you see it. But again, if you are that smart and you can do so much cool stuff and you know the computer systems, you know everything, the decision that he made didn't make any sense based on what any smart or even anyone with common sense would possibly do in that situation.
Well, and honestly, with what he does, the CIA themselves would have reacted probably very differently in real life. There's no way they'd just be like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I guess we better let you go.
Exactly. That's my point. It just, everybody seemed a little too credulous and a little too willing to let this thing play out when it had pretty serious ramifications, his plan. I realize we're talking about a movie. This is not real life. This is not ripped from the headlines, but
it could be.
Yeah.
It's ripped out of a book, I'll tell you that.
That took me out of it as much as anything. I also had some issues with the way the film was shot. I thought that the shaky cam throughout, even in the quiet moments, seemed very dated to me.
It's very Bourne light and Greengrass light on
Exactly. And that's what I mean by dated. Those movies are getting on to 20 years old, right? They're the first ones. So I felt like the whole thing seemed like it was probably shot and edited 15 years ago. And for some reason, they waited to give it to us. It's okay that these films don't necessarily move the ball for the genre, that they don't bring up new ideas or take big chances. It's okay to just make something fun that lives in a space that we all enjoy. That's fine. But I think it needs to be better written, better plotted. I'm fine with the way it was acted. I think Rami Malek is very good. I like him a lot. Lawrence Fishburne's always
usually
good.
Always good, yeah, and Fishburne.
The CIA characters were bad enough, but not so one note that they stuck out, like some of the other parts of the plot did. But I just didn't think the movie did enough. Even if it wasn't ever going to distinguish itself, it didn't do enough to earn its place.
And it was also kind of odd for them to fridge Rachel Brosnahan.
Totally.
Yeah. The one thing I did like, and I don't think this is a spoiler because it's pretty much in the trailer, it is in the trailer. Like, he is not a killer. Like, Lawrence Fishburne specifically holds a gun to him and says, shoot me. And he can't do it. And Lawrence Fishburne's like, you're not a killer.
He says, I can't teach you to do what I do. Yeah, that's in the trailer.
But then he kind of turns into Jigsaw, where every single person he kills, there is a way out of it, but they have to choose how to do that. I mean, there's one I could say I don't really see how you could get out of that. And they even mentioned that. It's like, well, this is kind of your out so you can placate your conscience, is that they had a chance to get out. And if they could or couldn't, that's up to them and their strengths. But so I did like that aspect of it a lot, because it was a different take on, this, Joe Schmo all of a sudden becomes this amazing superhero agent. They didn't do that.
Where he's still technically not killing these people.
Technically not, because they had a chance to get away, except for the one. I don't know how that one happened, but,
His journey to get to that place, though, is one of the things I'm talking about when I say rushed. That aspect of him, that growth in him into somebody who can at least set up possibilities of killing people, needed more time. And it wasn't ever going to get it in a feature-length film that's coming out in April, right? It was never going to
True.
get that. So that's another area that I think might have been better taken care of by a 6-episode arc, something like what the director has already done with Slow Horses. That show
Yeah.
has time. This movie didn't have time, and it felt like it knew it, and it just ran towards the finish line, which was a pretty lackluster finish line, in my opinion. All right, let's score this. Brooks, you go first. What did you think of The Amateur?
Well, it's like I said, it feels very dated, or as we all said, it feels very dated. Like it's in some kind of weird time capsule that it managed to leak out of into the world. And I mean, it fit right in with, say, like the Grisham movies, those kinds of things where it's like they're pseudo action movies, but not that whole thriller genre where they market them as action movies, but they never become one. And I mean, the cast was fine, none of them did anything outstanding, but they also were never horrible. And then it just, yeah, very rushed. He was in training for maybe 10 minutes of the movie.
That's true.
I was thinking about that while you were
I was
talking.
waiting for there to be a montage.
Yeah, that at least would have made more sense.
Yeah,
and
it
they
would
could
have
have
been-
gotten through it even faster. But yeah, we never get any of that. And so it's very middling for me. If it was on TV, since I've seen it, I wouldn't turn it on. But I guess it could pique my interest if it happened to be. And so I guess just middle of the road at 2 stars.
2 stars. Adam.
I'm right there. 2 stars. Again, I don't regret seeing it. I think there were
No.
some great ideas. The acting was fine. Everyone in it is great. You really hate the bad guy because they're a jerk. And
True.
you really do root for the good guys, and you even root for some of the anti-heroes. So it has that going for it. And I did enjoy that. It just, as you mentioned, it was rushed. I don't think he even gets to his first kill until like 2/3 the way through the movie.
It's a long time.
It's a long time in of just setup and moving and transferring and all this stuff. So it was rushed, and then it broke its world building by making him do the dumbest things that made no sense based on his intellect. So if it's on Netflix or Amazon, pop it on, take a look at it, play on
If
your
you
phone.
want to see it, you won't hate it.
Yeah, play on your phone, it'll be fine. But with the people in it and what they could have done and the pedigree of the director, I feel like they could have done more.
So you're at 2 stars as well?
2 stars, yes.
It's a rare moment of full agreement because I think it's a 2-star movie also. It's right down the middle, as you said, Brooks. It's a weird feeling to sit in a movie that needed to be more. It needed to be longer. It chose the wrong delivery system. A film wasn't what this story needed. It needed to be on television. But you can tell that even the people involved know that they're never going to see these characters again. There's not going to be an Amateur 2. It's not going to happen.
There's no reason for it.
And you can kind of feel that all the way through. And I still want an answer of why John Bernthal's in there. I have no idea what that was about. It seemed like he either won or lost a bet. I don't know what's going on there. But 2 stars for me, Adam.
2 stars.
Brooks.
2 as well.
I think this might be a show where there's a lot more agreement to come.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
this might be a first.
We're talking
We'll see.
about Thunderbolts now, the latest entry into the MCU. Adam's going to give us the synopsis right after a little bit of the trailer.
Let's talk facts. The Avengers are not coming. Who will keep the American people safe?
There's some big threat out there, and you are gonna help me stop it.
Wait, us?
Yeah, you. Why, you got someplace to be?
I love that guy.
Adam, tell us about Thunderbolts.
All right. Well, we've kind of had this thing going on where I have the same synopsis every time because I don't want to spoil much because you really need to know what it is. But in a nutshell, we've got the C-list Marvel characters from, the last couple movies they've did and TV shows. You have John Walker, U.S. Agent, Yelena Belova, Bucky Barnes, Taskmaster, and Red Guardian. They get looped together with Bob, this guy they rescue, and they have to escape with him and hopefully get away from the machinations of Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, played wonderfully by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who is trying to control the world, I guess.
You forgot to mention Ghost, played by Hannah John Kamen. She's great as well.
I'm on Wikipedia, damn it.
Well, then they forgot to mention Ghost.
That seems
No,
odd.
I was trying to, they didn't have all the characters at the top. They had the middling characters you don't care about. And then here's a member of the Thunderbolts at the very bottom.
I'm going to say right from the outset, the MCU is all the way back.
With this one.
Absolutely.
If they learn.
I have felt
Let's hope
like
so.
ever since Endgame, all of the COVID and post-COVID films have been a little dour. They've had much of the same problems that we've occasionally faulted Marvel for, which is they can sometimes be guilty of flat scripts. They can be guilty of plots without any real stakes. And the one thing they often get wrong on the side stories is villains. And I think the thing that Thunderbolts does right from the top, and I said this to you guys when we walked out of it because we saw this together. It was a rare moment. We were all three in the theater.
Yay.
The thing they did right was not have a villain because everyone's a villain. Every single person in this story is a complicated, messed up person. And they leaned all the way into that. Yes, did it feel like Suicide Squad? Of course, people were saying that going in, but this is a very different experience than
It's good. So.
Well, I think James Gunn's Suicide reboot is also good, but this is better. If Marvel trusts this template with the stories to come, they're all the way back.
One can hope.
Well, I really like what you said is that, in a sense, everyone is the bad guy, but at the same time, they're not. You know my soapbox, I like anti-heroes, but you know my soapbox I like to get on about mental health.
Yeah.
But that is 100% who is the villain in this movie. And there's a point where they're literally fighting their demons. And it was
are their own villains.
Exactly. It was just so amazing to see the way they handled it was, so many of these characters, I mean, all of them, they're just carrying burdens of grief, shame, and regret that kind of like how Black Widow said about getting the red out of her ledger. They haven't even started. Like the ledger is dripping red. And for everyone, even like, Bucky Barnes, like he's still trying to make amends for a Winter Soldier and leading up to that. And wisely, they didn't use him too much. He was in it for as much as he needed to be because this really needed to be the story about the other Thunderbolt characters.
Totally.
Yelena especially, like, everything she went through with losing her sister, with the blip, all that kind of fun stuff. So she really has to stand out as the main character, but then everyone gets their time. Like everyone has a moment to shine and learn. And like, if you would have told me that I would like John Walker / US agent back when I saw him a year or two ago, I would have slapped you upside the head. You love him in this. Like by the end of it, you identify with him because we've all gone through trauma in our lives. And I'll get off my soapbox now about mental health, but yeah, if there is one villain in this, it is absolutely the trauma that these people have gone through.
Yeah, the true villain, I guess, if you need one that they're all fighting against, is depression. And I'm not an expert in mental health or depression. I'm not. But Adam, you know more about it than I do, and you bring it up a lot, and I'm appreciative of that. This movie presents that subject in a way that feels unflinching, but also very respectful.
Oh, absolutely. And I love it when they actually do portray mental health in these big budget movies that everyone's going to see. Because I can't remember if it was one of you who said this, but it's like with Inside Out. It might have been another friend of mine. Is that when you finally do bring these issues to light in an entertaining movie, then people might be more willing to talk about it in real life because now that they've seen like, oh, this person feels like me. I thought I was all alone. You're not. So I think they were very respectful in that. And I walked out, Giddy's a schoolboy, even more so because my stuff on mental health.
Florence Pugh in particular has some scenes in this film that are going to stand up to the best dramatic performances of the year. Like she has some scenes that are A+ acting. She is so good in this role and so good for this movie. But Brooks, the good news is it's also really funny.
Oh yeah, this is probably the most naturally funny MCU movie in a long time.
It's effortless.
I mean, a lot of them, have jokes and they try to be funny. And then, or you've got, obviously James Gunn's Guardians are basically comedies, which works because they need to be. But yeah, when you've got a cast of anti-heroes, obviously they're going to be working against each other and they have to work together, but the jokes land every time. And to go back on all of the performances, this is the best superhero movie that A24 didn't make.
I would be very surprised if people who made this were not A24 fans because it really has that feel of
it does.
Where more of an indie feel and it had a smaller budget, by MCU standards. But going back to the jokes, the one thing that I think I laughed the hardest at that I haven't in a long time, and I think you'll know what I'm talking about, is all the heroes go through a lot of work to accomplish something, and the moment they do, it literally falls apart in front of them. And I think you know what I'm talking about. I was like, oh crap, that is hilarious and also heartbreaking at the same time.
It is the moment in the film where I realized I was in for a different kind of experience than I've been getting lately from the MCU is a moment where they're all sitting in the back of a truck on their way to go do something. And they're just casually bantering with each other. It's very simple. It feels improvise. The things they're saying, the way they're picking on each other, they feel like a family. The dialogue feels so natural. Like I said, it almost feels like they just turned the camera on when the actors didn't know it. It's got that level of fidelity. And I just thought, wow, not only is this movie perfectly cast, perfectly written, perfectly shot, everything is working because they feel so comfortable in their roles. What do you guys think this movie will do now for the MCU from a storytelling standpoint? I don't want to give away what happens in the post-credits scene or how this movie ends, but do you feel like this movie is driving in the right direction for the MCU?
Yeah, I do because it'll kind of set the tone for what we should expect because this is what we deserve. Yes, we want our explosions, and yes, we want our references to everything else that's going
Right.
on. We want it all connected because that's what they do. But I mean, this is just full of so many little things. Like you have a big action fight sequence 1 minute, and then they're all gathered outside and they all kind of separate, and then two of the characters wander off and start having their own conversation that most of these movies would not turn to
Mm-hmm.
or even pretend existed, and they dwell on it and make it as real as possible. I mean, if an MCU movie is going to make you cry, it's probably this one.
I said in my radio review that I haven't gotten misty-eyed in the MCU since Tony died, but this movie got me there a couple times. One of the things I love about it is it's happening in New York, right? The MCU's version of New York. And they're just walking around outside talking to each other and nobody cares. Like even the people in the
Yeah.
film as extras think of them as C-listers. It's such a subtle thing, but it was a brilliant choice. This director, Brooks, I think it's Jake Schreier. I think I'm saying his name correctly, but
Mm-hmm.
all he's done is like teen rom-coms and like real low budget sci-fi comedies before.
Yeah, I didn't look, but
He
yeah.
hasn't done much, but I can only imagine that Disney is going to say, "You're ours now. You're doing more of this," because I feel like he has got some kind of magic. It's exactly what the MCU needed at the right moment.
Yeah,
Just
he's
for-
mainly music video director.
Yeah, I mean, Robot and Frank and Paper Towns were both really good for what they were.
I do have to be honest. This movie does have a flaw. There's one flaw.
Is it because it ends too soon?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay, that's the second flaw. But the flaw that I was referencing is Bucky's hair. Terrible. I don't know what they're doing with that.
Well,
It
he's
looks-
a congressman, right?
It looks like a wig that was sewn together out of 4 different mops. I don't know what they're doing, but
Oh, maybe he borrowed it from the White House. Okay,
Could be
never mind.
at
We won't
this
go there,
point.
so.
all I know is if I'm calling out that, then that probably means this movie is pretty darn good. I do always like to tell people what their homework should be. So tell me if I get this right. So I think your homework for this movie needs to be, you need to see Falcon and Winter Soldier, so you understand who John Walker is. If you can see Ant-Man and Wasp, then you'll know who Ghost is. Definitely
Yes.
have to see Black Widow,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
because that brings in Red Guardian, it brings in Taskmaster, it brings in Yelena. You need to see that. Other than that, though, I think you're in pretty good shape if you've got some basic understanding of who Bucky is and everyone
Yeah.
else.
As long
Yeah.
as you've seen at the very, very least Black Widow, I mean, like,
True.
Yeah.
you can learn who everyone is in the middle of it. Even some of the people who like were in Winter Soldier, I mean, Falcon Winter Soldier, like John Walker, you get it. But I would definitely say for the relationship between Yelena and her dad, there's a Taskmaster, there's a lot there you should definitely check out. So if you have one thing to do, watch that.
Okay, great. Let's score it. This is going to be probably pretty unsurprising. I'll just go first. For me, straight up 4 stars. It's perfect. It knew its job. Adam always talks about movies that have a job to do. This movie does it extremely well. It does not put a foot wrong. This is a 4-star experience. I'm so excited about the MCU again, and I didn't think I'd be able to get there after the last few movies. So for me, 4 stars. Adam.
I'm also at 4 stars, but we do need to bring up David Harbour's Red Guardian. We don't need to dive in deep here, but he has a great emotional arc as well. How he's again bearing trauma, dealing with letting go of his daughters. So he's also again top notch in this. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. Like I can't think of anything I would change. I've said in the past, it feels like, oh hey, the MCU's back. And thinking back and reminiscing, like there's a lot of good, like Shang-Chi. I really liked that. I loved the TV stuff, which I really can't compare to this.
Yeah.
Because again, they're different mediums, which we just talked about with the Amateur. But this really does feel like, hey, we got this back again. I will say though, make sure you stay through the entire credits because the gag bit is in the mid-credit scene, and the actual it's a full scene actually
Yeah.
is at the very end of the movie. So stay
Sure.
through it all. We saw it in IMAX, and the best compliment I can give a movie is if I could have walked right back in and saw it again, being tired at work the next day, who cares? I would have done it immediately.
Before I throw it to you, Brooks, I want to respond to something Adam just said about Shang-Chi and other movies like that. I don't want people to think that I haven't enjoyed some of the
No.
MCU
No,
films
no,
that
no.
happened post-COVID, but those to me all felt like one-offs. This feels like part of something much bigger for the first time, part of a grand MCU arc, and I'm just so excited about
Yeah.
that. So
And the asterisk is important.
it is important. Yes. Brooks, where are you on this? I think I know.
Yeah, I mean, we're all in full agreement here, and everybody's talked already, so I'm not sure what more to add aside from how amazing Lewis Pullman is as Bob.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't even
Oh, we
gotten
can talk about
started on him,
Bob.
on Bob. Yeah, Bob the Void, whatever Sentry, whatever you want to call him. He is so good, and call him a nepo baby if you want, but he has every bit of the acting bug that his dad did, and he knows how to use it. And he just can go from dramatic to comedy to mad action villain in a heartbeat, and it just works fantastic, especially at the end when they're going
Yes.
through the big sequence that we can't talk about.
And I would say I loved the fact that they very easily could have slid into a PG-13 version of The Boys. And
Yeah.
they chose not to. Like, it started out and I was like, oh, are they doing
I
this?
know.
And then they didn't. And I was
Yep.
like, again, boom, like you got that little taste of, okay, I get
Like,
what
we
you're
could
doing.
do
and then
this.
they didn't, which was very, very wise.
It did seem like Bob was going to be Huey for a moment there, but he's not. Brooks, you didn't say a number. Say it for the record.
4, baby. 4 asterisks for me.
Adam?
4 asterisks for me.
And I'm at 4 as well. This movie is fantastic. Run out to see it. I'm going to go run out to see it again. So in honor of Dave Harbour's Red Guardian, who is very out of shape, but still very effective as a superhero, that's going to be our guilty pleasure. Movies that maybe aren't so great, but had out of shape, out of touch superheroes. We'll be right back. And we're back on episode 35 of Big Movie Mouth Off. I'm Jeff Counts.
I'm Brooks Bird.
And I'm Adam McDonald.
Guilty Pleasures, Out of Shape Superhero Edition. Adam, you're up.
So this one's very divisive. It is either you love it or hate it. And I'm talking about 2009's Watchmen.
Ah, yes.
I love it.
So
do I.
I was trying to think of it, and I was like going back and forth with stuff, and then I realized like Patrick Wilson, who plays Night Owl, gained like 35 pounds to play his role because he is like an out of shape superhero.
He has a dad bod.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a dad bod. So the reason why, I mean, this is again, you're on the fence left or right. There's no in betweens. Like even, and if you've not read the graphic novel, like it's one of the greatest pieces of literature ever written. Like,
Agreed.
I could spend 3 hours going over just all the in-depth crazy stuff that Alan Moore did because he's an insane person with wizards in his beard. It is very faithful to the story for the most part. There's some changes that really, really upset the purists, but you need to 100% watch the ultimate cut of this. You can pick it up. I think Amazon had a big sale the other day for like $10 a piece or something like that. But it does add more things into it. It does take the Tale of the Black. It's the Black Freighter. I can't remember the name of it, and people are going to yell at it. But it's the animated bit of the comic in the comic of Watchmen. And it's Zack Snyder doing what we like Zack Snyder doing. Like he had someone to tell him no on occasion, and when he has that, he makes great stuff. Sucker Punch is the one where no one told him no, but the R-rated version is amazing. Because that's just his id on the screen. But so yeah, 2009's The Watchmen or Watchmen. If you haven't seen it, pick up a 4K version. It's absolutely wonderful.
I'm just waiting for the right moment to bring up Sucker Punch as a guilty pleasure because I love that movie. We just haven't.
It's fantastic.
I've never seen it.
We just haven't
Watch
found
the
the right
R-rated one,
topic
yes.
yet. But all right, so yours is Watchmen. I totally agree with you. I love that movie. Mine came out right around the same time. Mine came out in 2009. No, actually, it was 2008, I think. Hancock with Will Smith. And
You told us that in advance.
Mine's 2008 too, but I knew it wasn't going to be mine.
I told you that. And one of the reasons I stuck with this is because I know how much Brooks hates this movie.
It's so bad.
I love it. I can't say why, except for it was at a time when Will Smith was prime Will Smith. He could still like really take over a cinematic experience and
Before
grab
the
your
slaps
attention.
around the world.
Before the slap and before some other things, but he's so good in it. I think that the story is fun. It ends in a terrible way. It's directed by Peter Berg, which I don't usually like Peter Berg's movies. It's not really my thing.
Very Bad Things is one of my all-time favorite movies.
I mean, it's not that Peter's terrible. It's just he doesn't make my
Yeah.
kind of movies. Too much Marky Mark. But I do like what he did with this, and Jason Bateman is always good. Charlize Theron's very good in this. I think the cast is fun. The story's fun. Will Smith is at the height of his powers. I loved it. Brooks, what is your guilty pleasure?
Well, I was kind of wishy-washy on it, and I couldn't really think of any, and then you gave me some leeway, so I'm going with 2008's superhero movie.
Oh, I wondered if you would do that.
I love this movie.
I've never seen it. What's it about?
It's like the last of the good spoof movies before the morons ruin the genre, but it's from Craig Mazin. I'm sure that name rings a bell with people now, from Chernobyl and The Last of Us.
Yep.
But I don't know. That's probably my favorite part is that he wrote and directed the movie. I don't
That
know
is
why,
surprising.
but it makes me like the movie even more. But it's just a Spider-Man spoof. So that's really all you need to know. But the jokes actually work. And you've got Leslie Nielsen in one of his last roles as Uncle Ben. So what can you not love?
All right. Well, mine was 2008's Hancock. Adam, yours was?
2009's Watchmen.
And Brooks?
2008 superhero movie.
All right, Brooks, you go first on coming attractions. What are you looking forward to?
I've been waiting for this one for a long time because I've been told I need to see it. Well, I guess it's not that long, just since Sundance. But it's the Norwegian version of Cinderella called The Ugly Stepsister.
Oh, I've heard about this.
I don't know a lot about it, but I do know that it's a body horror version of Cinderella. And so I am very excited for it to hit Shudder on Friday.
Did you see it at Sundance, Adam?
I did not because I was trying to. I was going to go in person if I had to, but everything was completely sold out. I know people who saw it who said it was, they had people who were vomiting in the aisles and
Great.
And this is a
walking out.
very, very trustworthy source.
People either loved it or puked. So
But
I think
could mean you love it too.
I mean, Blair Witch Project, people were puking in the aisles back then for different reasons. But yeah, apparently this is one of the most extreme body horror movies ever made.
That's saying a lot these days. Body horror seems to be all the rage right now. What are you looking forward to, Adam?
So I'm going video games, but I am doing something we've never been able to do before, and I'm going with a video game system, and that is the Switch 2.
Aha.
So Switch 2 was announced last month. Pre-orders were supposed to go up for I think April 9th. We know there's tariffs happening, so Nintendo delayed it until last week or the week before, and I was actually able to snag 2. Now I'm not scalping them. I have a friend at work who was at a baseball game with his girlfriend, and he wasn't able to get one, so I'm giving it to him at retail. But yeah, is it behind the times a bit? You know, it's going to be about as powerful as a PS4. We're on the PS5 with the Pro and everything. But it's Nintendo. The games are awesome. You've got the new Mario Kart, which is free roam, so you can drive all over the map, and then all of a sudden you get sucked into a race when you get close to it. You've obviously, of course, got the new Metroid Prime coming out, remakes and redos of some classic games. I know a lot of people are upset that they're charging more for the games, but if you stop and think about it, we were paying $60 a game for the N64 back in the 90s. So inflation has not really caught up. So they're going to be very hard to get one. Do not pay scalpers.
No.
Don't
Wait
do
for them
it.
to show up at Best Buy and Walmart and Target. You can get one there when the system doesn't crash. But don't pay for scalpers. Have fun with it, and it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. So
I hate to break it to those of you who, like Adam and I, are gamers. The industry has just been waiting for someone to rip off the $80 Band-Aid. Nintendo did it. Games are going to be $80 now.
Xbox just announced it.
Just-
They're upping the price
Of course. Of
the
course.
Xbox Series X, and they have first-party games, which honestly they're all on Game Pass. So if
I
you
know.
have that, you don't have to pay for them.
It's true.
Are going up to $80 as well. So that was announced like yesterday.
Game Pass is the best deal in video games. Period. The end. All right. I'm looking forward to something tentatively. I think it might be good, but I'm worried it might be nothing but cheese. I'm looking forward to The Life of Chuck, which is
Oh yeah,
it's a Stephen King novella. It's not horror. It's one of his feel-good stories. He didn't do too many of them, but it's directed by Mike Flanagan, Brooks. He's the guy who did Haunting of Hill House,
Who
right?
does
So
all of the good horror movies.
yeah, and it looks like
And lots of Stephen King movies.
yeah, definitely some, but this would be the first kind of like Forrest Gump happy one, right? It's got Tom Hiddleston in it, Chiwetel Ejiofor, a huge cast. It's
Karen
probably
Gillan.
yes, Karen Gillan's in it. Probably 20 more names that I could mention that are worth getting excited about. The trailer makes it look like it might give you a toothache, like it's a little too sweet, like you're going to need to run immediately to the dentist after you see it. But I don't know. Maybe it's okay.
I've heard amazing things. It's already been winning awards at like film festivals.
It won in Toronto, and I think it's going to live up to the promise. 2 fingers crossed for the life of Chuck. Brooks, you were looking forward to?
The Ugly Stepsister.
And Adam?
The Switch too.
Well, all I can say about the next episode is that we are finally venturing all the way back into horror for our friend Brooks.
Yes.
Going to be an amazing twofer.
An amazing twofer. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Until then, I'm Jeff Counts.
I'm Brooks Bird.
And I'm Adam McDonald.
Thank you for being with us. Big Movie Mouth Off was produced and edited by me, Jeff Counts, and co-hosted by Adam McDonald and Brooks Bird. Our theme music is written by Brian Z. Richards, and this show is dedicated to the memory of our founders, Jeff Michael Weiss and my partner in crime for over 5 years, the incomparable Jimmy Martin.